Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
This here's the Tuners Podcast, and this week we are finally, I don't know why I haven't had the urge to do this since like the 2000s, but finally talking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order.
Because you held a grudge against Dwayne for a long time. And Marvel Ultimate Alliance is a very good game. That's your spoiler-free review. It's very good. Did you like the other Marvel Ultimate Alliance games? Yeah? Good. It's one of those.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's a well done one, too.
Did you like Marvel Heroes, but thought it was a little too much like WoW and could use a more focused power set and maybe a stronger focus on squad gameplay? Oh, good. That's what they did.
You know, actually, funny you bring that up. That's actually something I wanted to talk about. Because if you remember, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the first, had more diverse power options.
Yeah.
Not quite as diverse as Marvel Heroes.
No.
But still, you had more shit to choose from that your character could do. And while on one hand I miss that, I think it's funny that even coming from Marvel Heroes, where you've got those 3 tiers and so many abilities to use, I don't feel like Ultimate Alliance doesn't give me enough powers.
No. It is less than Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1. I think it might be the same as 2. But it is more focused. The powers are tightly made and they feel good. So it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel so much like there's not enough options, so much as the options that are there are very satisfying.
Well, and also you've got your your light hacks, your light attacks, and your heavy attacks that you can jump with and use in midair, and they do different things that way, and they combo well.
I think the combos are a big part of it. Is a lot of the depth is discovering what powers combo well off one another.
Oh yeah, the synergies, those are really good too. It's a lot more, I don't know, it's more satisfying than I felt Marvel 2 was at the time.
I haven't played Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 in a long time, but I know we only played through it the once, whereas Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1, we played, son.
I remember hours of us running through the Asgard challenge where you had to go fight Curse, and then, what the hell's his name? Christopher Eccleston.
Name's Christopher Eccleston now. Malekith.
Yeah, Malekith, thank you.
Yeah, same. Actually, that's something we should probably be more detailed of, because I don't know that we've ever actually told the listener about that.
Briefly, when we first talked about how hype we were on some event podcast within the last 6 months.
But Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1... was that the first game that we played together, like, a fuckload?
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and Soul Calibur...
whichever
3?
The current one was. No, 4 was 4. 3 was before we
3 was with the
with
guest
Zoslem
characters.
Allen, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I didn't actually play much Soul Calibur 3, if that tells you anything. But yeah, no, Soul Calibur 4 and Marvel Ultimate Alliance were some of the first games that we played just a lot together.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of fundamental, like foundational in our friendship. And so when we heard the third one was finally at long last coming out, probably, at least partially because Marvel Heroes got canned, it was a really good moment. It was nostalgia, but in like a really good way.
Well, and we had those wait and see vibes because you never know, But Team Ninja and everyone else involved did a great job with this game. The cutscenes are even good. The voice acting is really good. It's hard to get someone who sounds at all like Robert Downey Jr. And they did all right.
I appreciate they didn't try too hard.
Yeah. I
appreciate that they were comfortable deviating from the MCU, like occasionally. Like Vision doesn't sound anything like Paul Bettany, and that's okay.
A little bit.
A little, but no more so than any British person does.
Any calm British person, I suppose.
And they're comfortable differentiating a bit, which I like, actually.
My only real issue with the voice acting so far is Thor, just because I guess I kind of forgot about
Thor?
Comics Thor being who he is.
Your issue with the Thor in that game, because he's a perfectly fine comics Thor. He's the same Thor we got in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. It's more that, and most animated Marvel movies, and pretty much everything that isn't related to Chris Hemsworth. The problem is that Chris Hemsworth's performance is now so iconic, he's not as held up there as Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans, as, having reinvented the role. But he really did. Because even before Taika Waititi showed up, the sort of irreverent Australian energy that he brings to the role, it was always there, and it's transformed the character in a lot of people's brains, mine included, that, does your mother know you weareth her drapes version of Thor doesn't really sound right anymore.
Yeah.
In the same way that if you didn't do at least a little bit of a Robert Downey Jr. impression, it would sound weird. Cap is the same way. Cap is not doing... The guy doing Cap is just doing a Captain America. He's not doing Chris Evans at all. And it does sound a little weird.
It does a little. It's a little... But he's...
I don't mind it, though.
Yeah. I think... Well, I think Captain America's performance in the MCU is perhaps the best version of Cap we're ever likely to see, at least in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I don't associate the voice as heavily with Captain America or the mannerisms and stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. He's an incredibly good Captain America, but he didn't transform the character.
No.
He did the character justice, because the character didn't need much transforming. He played a version of Captain America that was accurate to the comics, whereas RDJ and Chris Hemsworth transformed what accurate to the comics meant.
Yeah, well, and same with Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Who again, sounds like his actor.
Yeah, he's just someone doing a Chris Pratt-ish. But
Drax
is entirely
also
different.
not super good about Drax.
Drax isn't entirely... He's just a meathead. It's not doing... And I'm sorry, that one I am mad about, because Dave Bautista brings a beautiful energy to that.
I mean, they could have even just done like a generic, deep-voiced, calm guy, but instead he's got that edge to him, and I'm like, stop.
He sounds like Steve Bloom. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got... Well, I mean, it sounds like someone doing a Steve Bloom.
Yes, that's
because
what I mean.
they had a Steve Bloom, and he's not doing Drax.
No, he's doing Wolverine, like he does everything. But, they nod to other things, like Magneto is doing more of an Ian McKellen than Magneto from the 90s cartoon. But the cutscenes are fun, they're comic cutscenes, they're a comic storyline. They're an Infinity Gems, they are the Infinity Gauntlet storyline sort of popping off the page at you, with obvious inspiration from the MCU, but also being more about the comics. Like, Ultimo shows up.
Doing its own thing as well, and I really like that.
Yeah. I really, really like that. I would have been sad if they just aped the MCU. And as much as I love the MCU, and boy, if you don't know how much I love the MCU, go back and listen to any of the podcasts about the MCU.
Just look at what we've uploaded. You don't even have to listen to it. So let's talk characters. Being perfectly 100 with you, listener, we haven't defeated the game.
No, but it's a long game, and we have jobs and stuff. So, and we plan on defeating the game. This is not a games journalist thing. It's not. It's more that, like, I have enough of a idea of what the game is to have an opinion on it, and to sort of know what I like about it. And I don't want to wait another 6 months until I finish the game to be able to talk to you guys about it.
Well, yeah, and I'll be upfront with you about this as well. We had scheduled this podcast for 2 weeks after this game came out.
Yeah.
Because the first week there was something else going on, and we knew we weren't going to have enough time to play it to do it justice. But, stuff's gotten in the way. Obviously, we haven't beaten it yet. It's a long game, but not that long. But also, like, even at that point, we hadn't played it enough to really feel comfortable talking about the game. Now we're a little better. Now we've gotten... we just unlocked Black Panther, for those of you who've played. So we're about at that point in the story. And as we just finished saying, the story's good. It's very comicsy. It's fun.
I don't expect there to be a third act twist that really ruins it. I mean...
Yeah, sure. But how do you feel about the characters that are included?
Of the ones we have so far, there's a lot of really good options. The only thing that somewhat, not even a lot, because at the end of the day, the bonuses aren't that big in the grand scheme of things compared to like the gems you get, the ISO 8, and the lab bonuses. But the only thing that bothers me just a little bit, but I can see why they do it, is that there are bonuses for having squads that are themed, like the squads that in comics hang out. Members of the X-Men, or, Women of Marvel, or so on and so forth. They have each character has a bunch of tags, essentially, of all the teams that the game recognizes them as being a part of. And if you have a squad that all share, if you have at least 2 members on a squad that share the same team, you get a bonus, and the bonus goes up the more the members of the squad have that same thing. And it's not always like comics team. Sometimes it's just, big, strong guys, or guys who wear a lot of black. Stuff like that. And while I understand why they're doing that, because it makes for good theming, it does. The problem for me is that it incentivizes you to play a bunch, to really, like, it disincentivizes you from just playing the characters you want to play. Because I end up playing Captain America a lot because he's just an absurdly good tank, regardless of the bonuses. But there are times when you to make it through like a tough boss fight, you might need to switch things up to get that next little edge of having enough strong guys to get a power bonus big enough to smack the boss around.
And, there's other features about the characters that you can switch out to really take advantage of. For example, when we were fighting Ultimo on the rooftop, I was playing as Venom, who was a little underleveled at the time, but his abilities push enemies really far. So when those waves of Ultron bots came in to fight us, I would just slap them all off the roof.
Yeah. And each character has not a totally unique moveset. There's obviously some overlap. They have a couple different particle effects that get recycled occasionally, which is alright. Because the usage is usually pretty different. Like the tornado that Star-Lord makes and the one that Storm makes act very differently.
Well, and there's you have that issue with any game like this, or early League of Legends, where there are really only so many powers you can do. It's hard to do a spin on them and not have to...
Well, also, I think it's an intentional design choice because having a few different kinds of power, like this power is a punch, this power is a steroid, this power is a spin, makes it easy for them to program in interactions.
Right, yes, that's true too.
So, you could program in Colossus's spin attack so that it combos with any other spin attack.
Or with the same things that any spin attack combos with.
Right.
But adding the power budget's not the right word. The different power setups and their utility. There are some sections that I don't know how we would have gotten through without Cap until we unlocked Black Panther and got the Colossus DLC.
Because they have the same, basically, Cap has a power that makes a big-ass shield that your whole party can hide behind that stops all damage. It's very expensive power-wise. But if people on your team hit the shield with a couple different powers, it combos and does extra damage. Colossus, we got the DLC, and Black Panther both have a slightly different version of that power where they block all damage, but it's just their model that's doing it. So it's not quite as good for defending your allies, but it's way easier to combo off of because you don't have to get around the enemy and hit the shield. You can just hit Colossus, and it counts as hitting Colossus, which then makes the big combo explosion.
Yeah, and even Colossus and Black Panther are a little different, and I think this is good insight into how the powers tend to be a little different, in that Colossus can walk while he's doing his shield, and Black Panther, when he lets go of his shield, there is a huge explosion.
Because he's doing the vibranium thing,
yeah,
where it's absorbing the impact and then redirecting it, which is super neat. And they do that a lot. It's little spins on similar themes for powers. I really like that.
Yeah. Now 4 people on the screen, including sometimes guest characters in story mode and all the enemies you're fighting.
It can get a little hectic.
It does get a little noisy. I've lost myself more than once. But if you're only playing with 2 people, it's not as bad. I know those rings are different colors, but I just lose track of who I am.
When you get to 3 people, though, which we have played with 3 people occasionally, that's right, we have at least one other friend.
That's right, we own at least one other Switch controller.
Yep. But we have played with 3 people a couple times. It gets a little more hectic, but also it gets a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, we went back and replayed a couple of fights because we wanted to grind up lower level characters because, like I said, Captain America has been an asset. So, of course, he's one of our
pretty much always
guys.
around.
Yeah.
So he's level 30, whereas the lowest level dudes are like level 13.
We've got some who are still 10.
Because you have to have them out and play and be playing them to level them. And the story's a way quicker way to level than any of the Infinity thingies. Like any of the side missions.
Yeah. I mean, you can grind some the level up cubes with some of them.
But it's just way slower than doing the story missions.
And slightly less fun.
So a bunch of the guys had fallen behind because the story missions are so much faster, and because they're more fun, you're kind of incentivized to pick a squad and stick with it, which is at odds with the incentivization in the theming and getting power bonuses to switch around a lot to get bespoke bonuses that are the best for this fight. Like, oh, this is an energy attack boss. We want a bunch of people with resilience.
Yeah, that was an issue we ran into recently.
But we couldn't do that because they were all way too underleveled to have a prayer of beating the boss in the first place.
Now, nicely, that's where the Infinity system? I forget what the fuck it's called. There's so many systems in this fucking game.
It's that one's the Infinity.
Okay. Where you go through and have a little grid full of shit. So we were just able to go in there and tick a bunch of, nodes on the grid.
No, you're talking about lab.
The lab.
Yeah. Infinity is the old challenge mode in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. You get a bunch of, all right, go in here, fight this boss battle again, but you and the boss both do double damage, best of luck. With little modifiers to make it more difficult. And you can get experience and level up cubes from that. He's talking about essentially the sphere grid.
Yeah, the little level up grid. It's actually really good. It's way better than a sphere grid. The specific one from Final Fantasy X. And instead of the old gear system, you equip owch now.
Yeah, and that it's just again another way of stacking some bonuses to help either shore up weaknesses in your character, or really help them shine. For instance, Cap's ISO-8 slots are all filled with stuff to make him a better tank, to make him tougher, and to make enemies more likely to target him, and just stuff that makes it so that I'm the one who's soaking up all the damage with my invincibility shield.
And it's awesome. There's a bunch of other cool effects, and I'm sure there's way more that we haven't even seen yet, because, like I said, I haven't finished the game yet. But yeah, we kind of got off track there talking about a bunch of different things, specifically the characters included. Like, is there anything that's really excited you?
Well, I did until right now, literally until this moment. The only characters I knew who were in this game are the ones we've unlocked while playing. I hadn't looked it up.
There's only 4 I think we're missing.
I see quite a few here.
Well, some of them are... Well, these are just playable ones.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, but like we've several to unlock here that aren't on that list of the ones we've unlocked so far.
Right. There's 4 we're missing, and then there's the DLC that's coming out.
Yeah.
And that have already been announced.
That's super cool. But like I'm excited for a lot of the characters we haven't gotten yet, and I'm excited that like all right. Look, can I be real with you? Listener, can I keep it 100 with you? When Kamala Khan showed up as a playable character, I legitimately got up out of my seat.
Oh yeah, he was excited.
I cheered. I like that character. She's just fun. She's just a fun, well-adjusted person who wants to be a superhero. That's cool.
I was really happy to see Ghost Spider and Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen. Yeah. Gwen, not Gwen Poole though. Too bad.
And Miles, that was awesome. I was glad to see...
There are a lot of spider people.
There are a lot of spider people.
And Black Widow is included in that list. And I think that's very funny.
I was also happy to see some people like the Guardians. That's Gamora and Drax. And like I kind of expected to get Rocket and Groot in some capacity and Star-Lord, but I'm glad Gamora and Drax are in there. And
yeah, I'm glad they did the Guardians.
Yeah, the core from the movie series. So there's everyone's in the game. I feel like there's a bit of an omission in playable villains.
There's a few. You got like Magneto and Loki, and I think there's
the big spoiler man that you get from the challenge later.
Well, I mean, like, that's just neat.
Yeah, and it just I think you also get Loki from a challenge quest later. I don't know about Magneto, but they're well known for switching sides, so that's not too surprising.
Loki and Magneto, yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler Man isn't, but that should be fun. I hope he's a good tank.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of villains in that. That's it, basically. Venom, I guess. But again, Venom is often a hero.
Yeah, Daredevil's an anti-hero, that sort of thing. But
Elektra is another good one.
There weren't a lot of playable villains in any of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games.
Well, in the first one, we got that DLC pack that was basically oops, all villains. And then the second one was Civil War. So we did get a good, decent amount of villains. We had, like, Venom and Green Goblin and a bunch of other guys.
Oh, yeah, the Thunderbolts.
Basically, yeah. And then, of course, in Marvel Heroes, while it is not a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, come on now. They had a healthy roster of villains before they shut down. But I would have liked to see a couple more, like I love Gabi. I would love to play as Gabi.
You do love Storm and Norman Osborn.
I do, man.
all right. So, can we pull up the original Marvel Ultimate Alliance roster and see
I
what
can
the difference is?
Hack the internet real quick here and do exactly that.
He's in.
There we go. So, one of these, if not both of them, get really fucky in, like, exclusive shit. But I think I can rely on my memory. Yeah. So, the original Marvel Ultimate Alliance, we had Black Panther, Black Widow, Blade, who's not there yet, but he's coming as DLC, Captain America, Captain Marvel, who I think that
was Marvel.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it's exclusive to the PSP version here. Again, there were so many exclusives. This was back in Console Wars Gen 2.
Yeah.
So there was all that kind of shit. But I don't remember playing as Marvel. Colossus, Cyclops, Daredevil, Deadpool, Doctor Doom.
Oh, I do miss Doctor Doom. I'm not going to pretend like I don't miss Doctor Doom.
Yeah. Well, we've got a Fantastic Four pack coming. And, I mean, smart money is it's probably just the four.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be weird if it wasn't.
But if it's the four and Doom, that's a good pack.
Then I can go back to doing what I did back in the day, which was play Doctor Doom and say things in characters Doctor Doom in the third person.
We also had Doctor Strange, Elektra, Ghost Rider, Hawkeye, Human Torch. Obviously, like I said, the Fantastic Four coming. Hulk. Iceman, I think that's a notable omission for having an elemental power set, but we do have an X-Men pack coming.
Kind of fallen off. If there's an X-Men pack coming, I'd expect him there maybe, but he's also kind of fallen off in recent years.
Invisible Woman, Iron Man, Luke Cage, Magneto, Mr. Fantastic, Moon Knight, who is coming, Ms. Marvel.
Moon Knight, yeah.
We did have Carol in that form. Nick Fury, which was DLC, the last DLC, if I recall correctly. Nightcrawler... Ronin, who was an exclusive. That's the
PSP. And
that's Echo.
Yeah,
if you prefer.
Ronin 2.
Sabretooth, who I would be surprised came into this game.
Yeah, I would be a little surprised too. Just because Sabretooth isn't nearly as popular these days as he was back then.
Yeah, this was not too long after the movie, so. Silver Surfer, who was great in that game, but I would be surprised if we saw him.
I would be very surprised if we saw him unless, like, they plan on having this be a long-form games as a service game and they release, like, a Galactus thing.
It's interesting you should say that, but let's finish with this topic first. Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, who's not in this game. Storm.
I would be fucking astonished if Spider-Woman showed up.
Thing, Thor, Venom, and Wolverine.
So not many more playable games.
Not too well. Not in the first one, and the second one,
like about the same. Maybe like one or two less.
I'm just gonna look at villains here. Let's see. Oh, fucking Cable, Carnage, and Cable's he's more of a good guy, I guess.
Carnage, Green Goblin. Juggernaut, Magneto.
Yeah, Jugs was fun.
Penance.
Well, he was a good guy.
Was he though?
Yeah.
Was he though?
I don't think we played a version that had... No, we didn't. That had Songbird. That would have been sick.
And then Venom.
Yeah. Venom. So I suppose there weren't that many. I thought there were more.
It's about normal for a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game.
I
A couple,
you're right.
but you are thinking mostly of Marvel Heroes.
I must
because
be.
Marvel Heroes had a fuckload.
So there's an interesting thing about this, though. There are NPCs who have full battle sound sets and assets. This was all data mined when the game came out. So, like...
They have full battle sets, but aren't in any battles in the game.
Well, no, they're in battles in the game. They're like helpful,
NPCs.
or they're NPCs.
That might be why they have them.
There are also 49 DLC slots in the game.
Oh!
The full list of NPCs that have battle sound sets include Ant-Man, Beast, Black Dwarf, Bullseye, Colossus, Corvus Glaive, Cyclops, Dormammu, Dr. Octopus, Ebony Maw, Electro, Gorgon, Green Goblin, Hela, Jessica Jones, Juggernaut, Kingpin, Claw, Maximus, MODOK, Mysterio, Mystique, Nebula, Nick Fury, Nova, Odin, Proxima Midnight, Red Skull, Ronan, Sandman, Supergiant, Surtur, Thane, Sentinel, Ultron, Ultimo, Vision, and Winter Soldier. Now, I'd be super surprised if they let us play as Ultimo. And obviously, these guys are like bosses most of the time.
Yeah, they're mostly bosses, looks like.
But it is interesting that we've got all those characters and we've got all those assets. And then we've got 2 of those guys have already been dropped as free DLC.
I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you. A bunch of those are really cool, and that would be your playable villain roster. We could do squads, several squads that are just bad guys.
We could.
Could we put together a Sinister Six out of that?
I mean, there's only 4 of them, but...
no, we got Venom. He's a member sometimes.
Green Goblin, Electro. Dr. Octopus, Sandman.
He's
been on there before.
5.
An actual 6th one. I'm not seeing anything.
No.
Mysterio.
Kingpin, maybe. Mysterio. Yeah, there he goes. Yeah. I mean, there's only 4 people on the squad. But we could do some Sinister Six business. That'd be fun. Maybe 3 members and then a Spider-Man.
So, there is DLC coming still. The Marvel Knights DLC, which apparently includes a cool vampire challenge quest, which includes as playable characters Morbius, which, good God, what a pull!
They're making a Morbius movie.
I'm excited about all that shit. Punisher, Blade, and Moon Knight.
Oh, Punisher! I get to play Frank and Frank people.
I'm really hoping Blade has his whippy move, and I'm hoping, unlike Daredevil, he can move while he does it.
Got here, vampire.
Got here, vampires.
Don't. Move on.
So in that sense, we are confirmed to be getting the Fantastic Four, DLC. We're confirmed to getting an XMen DLC.
It's gonna be Ben, Reed, Sue, and Dr. Doom.
Who knows? But the X-Men DLC is not as clear as to what we're going to be getting.
Well, I mean, it can't be. There's approximately 400 X-Men.
Sure. And it hasn't been mentioned. They haven't, told us what we're getting. And even in the characters who are in the game already, that really just leaves, Beast.
Rogue.
Well, that's already in the game. That's already got models and all that shit.
Yeah, pretty much all the other X-Men who are in the game, who show up on screen in the game, are playable already.
Yeah, I would really like Gambit.
A Gambit would be fun.
Yeah, he's always fun in games.
There's so many options because there are approximately all the X-Men.
Right.
I doubt we'll get Dupe.
I doubt that too. And the reason I say Gambit as well is not just because I like him and I enjoy playing him in games, but I think it's likely.
He's got a cool power set and a cool model. And he's got that weird hat and pink eyes.
He's a cool guy, he's Gambit. Is there anyone who's not on the roster that you really would wish to see?
Yeah, the X-23. But
you know, that's she could be included. She is fairly popular.
She's Wolverine now, son.
Yeah.
Logan's being dead at the moment. It's an X-Men thing. He'll be back.
Is there anyone even like not an X-Man? Like say they do continue to fill up those 49 slots of DLC.
There's
like just one dream pick.
So I don't know, because there's already so many people I love who I haven't played enough yet.
Yeah.
And it's just this is too many options. It's an embarrassment of riches of things you could pick.
I like that everyone feels good, too, because this keeps happening to me in...
Yeah, I've run into a couple people I'm not personally fond of, but they feel like they would be fun if I were a different person. Like, not that they're badly made.
You remind me of a point that I wanted to bring up earlier when we were talking about it, and I got distracted. The only real complaint I have with their leveling up system is that you have to hit level 20 before you get access to all 4 of your powers. And I get why they're gated out, so as not to overwhelm a player, especially a new player. But I would have made that happen by level 10, maybe 15 tops.
15 seems fair.
Because
20 is a little bit of a...
Yeah.
But I get why it's a nice round number.
Sure, and I understand it too, and I'm sure there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that makes sense. The problem is it takes a while to get your characters to 20, and until then, you're not really getting an idea of what they can do.
You're getting an idea of some of the things they can do.
Right, but like there's a character you like whose first 2 powers suck, you might never play them, even though the last 2 work really well with the first 2 and are really fun to use. Or you might be getting a character whose first 2 powers are great, but their last 2 suck, and then you spend all that time and effort, and you're like, well, I don't care for this.
Yeah, that's a thing. I think the idea is, pick a squad, go through the game at least once.
Yeah.
That'll get you enough level up cubes to just quick set to 20 anybody else. Because that's clearly the idea, is they have all these infinity realms and different worlds and challenge maps because they expect you to go through this more than once.
And I plan on going through it more than once. We started out on the regular difficulty, but we bumped it back down to easy because...
We're bad at video games.
The regular difficulty was fucking difficult. Like, most of the shit is fine, but the bosses, holy shit. Especially the ones with infinity gems.
It was basically just that there was very little room for error. You could fuck up maybe once a boss fight, and if you did more than one fuck up, you were screwed, and we were new at the game, so we fucked up a lot. But once we get through the game on that, I feel like we'll be good enough at the game, apart from having levels. We'll be good enough at the game to, actually bump up to the regular difficulty.
Sure.
And then play it again.
And the levels and the ISO 8 and the grid being filled out certainly don't fucking hurt.
Yeah, you mentioned we went back and played some stuff in the story mode. We went back a few chapters and played through again with a third person to level up some guys and to have a good time, basically. And a bunch of the boss battles were way easier, partially because the third person really helps for coordination and combos. Combos really, really help.
They just do so much damn damage.
But a big part of it is that our grid is a lot more filled out now, so our characters are just at base mechanically better, even if they're the same level.
Yeah, I remember those energy beams from Ultimo hitting for a lot more damage, and because we had literally the last thing we spec'd into pretty hard on that grid was energy defense.
For a different boss battle.
For a different boss.
For Dormammu.
Yeah.
Dormammu.
It wasn't as much of a contest.
Nope. It was way easier. It was a way easier boss battle because we had bigger numbers. So they were able to soak up our bad.
Yeah. There was more margin for error.
Yeah. I'm not good at video games. I make no claims to being good at video games. I'm okay with that. If you're not, I'm sorry.
I don't think I'm good at video games, but I've beaten me deer, so here I sit. But I like it. It's fun. It's so nice to have it back, and I hope they make another one. Maybe give it more than just 1 year before you make another one, but I would love to see just a different assemblage of similar characters.
I will say that this is a game that would get games as a service money out of me.
I don't mind games as a service in general. Like, I love the way Killer Instinct did their first season, and if I had more money back when it first started doing that, we would have probably owned all those characters a lot sooner.
Yeah. this game is fun, and I had a good enough time with it, and I want to keep playing it with my friend. It's much more likely to get games as a service money out of me than most other games that do that. I like playing it with my friend, and it's fun, and I like superheroes. So if you guys wanted to take a time before, like, don't make another one, just keep adding to this one, you would make money off me from it.
Yeah, until you've got a full big story, that like a big arc that you want to plot out, maybe something from comics, maybe after the next Avengers arc is over in theaters or something.
Yeah. 10 years from now.
Yeah. Or when we're on the Nintendo Swatch. You wear it on your wrist.
See, now, I know that was a joke, but it's Nintendo. There is every chance you just leaked information to the internet about their plans.
Please don't kill me, Doug Bowser. End the podcast.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it. Lock the door! Fuck it!